Was Juice World getting extorted? This video comes to us from Trap University. I'll leave the link in the description. But if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And y'all know how we do it. We get right into it. Let's go.
First things I heard after Juice WRLD's passing was that the pilot on the private jet that he chartered to fly back to Chicago had tipped off law enforcement that there were several illegal items being carried on the plane, and this is why the police were waiting for him when he landed. But then I found out that a month before any of this happened, his flight from Los Angeles to Sydney, Australia was searched by federal agents because he was allegedly already on an FBI watch list. So what is actually the background of what happened on that jet? Now, it's important to note that despite some of his fans being angry at the pilot for allegedly calling the police, the pilot could have very well been an informant, or at the very least coerced by the FBI into providing information. I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but the airport is federal. If you're suspected in any way of crossing state lines, whether by plane or car, you've crossed into federal territory. So of course, if the FBI had checked one of his flights beforehand, why wouldn't they contact his pilot or any pilot that he chartered and order them to provide information? The FBI is not exactly someone you can withhold much information from, especially not as a pilot. Instead of trying to point blame at his girlfriend, the pilot, or whoever was on the flight, the question people should be asking is why over 70 pounds of narcotics were found on the plane.
Wow, 70 pounds, goddamn. That is way beyond the personal use. That's way beyond the personal use threshold. Now, when I first heard this, my first thought was, damn, that pilot, he's dead wrong for calling them, telling ass, Crime Stoppers looking at. You know, the way dude put that, you know, if the feds reached out to him, you know, he gonna try to protect his livelihood, of course. And, you know, if he didn't say nothing, they gonna charge him too with 70 pounds. These motherfuckers stupid, man. You better tap in with somebody when you get there. As soon as that plane touchdown, hit your boy like, man, I need throw me a couple of juices, a couple of peas, something. That's just crazy, bro. You moving wrong.
If it were just a few pounds, then I'd say it was all for personal use. It was his birthday week, and according to what his girlfriend told law enforcement, he was an addict. But 70 sounds a lot like trafficking. But why would an artist whose music has already gone gold, platinum, and even diamond while he was alive, living in Encino, one of the most expensive areas in Los Angeles, need to traffic anything? And also, he was only visiting Chicago. He wasn't living there. As I said, he lived in Encino. And this is confirmed by not only he himself stating that he lived in LA, but the Chicago Fire Department also confirmed that in his post-mortem report. But none of this was more surprising than finding out that his remains were transferred to Leak & Sons. If you're not from Chicago, you have no idea what this is, but it's a grimy funeral home in a very grimy area. And his funeral wasn't held there, but the mere mention of it made a certain hood pop into my head, No Limit, which is on 79th, just like Leak & Sons, only Leak & Sons is a bit further west. Now, I'm kinda unclear on what links a kid from the south suburbs to a hood on 79th Street. As Juice WRLD said himself, his mother moved him away from the hood.
Damn, look at bro. That's crazy. Let me let y'all see a close up. This nigga mama done pulled out his baby pictures. He look like a little nerd type shit, you know what I'm saying? But you can't judge a book by the cover though. Can't judge a book by the cover. Let's get back into
Sons is a bit further west. Now, I'm kinda unclear on what links a kid from the south suburbs to a hood on 79th Street. As Juice WRLD said himself, his mother moved him away from the hood a long time before he blew up. So the guy that signed him after being put onto his music was Lil Bibby, who was a rapper turned executive from No Limit, who also did not know Juice WRLD. When he met Juice WRLD for the first time, he was in the studio with other guys from No Limit who also did not know him. Now, I'll admit that while he was alive, I always thought his association with No Limit was strange. Just being from the city, the suburbs are their own world, and typically the only way you see a guy from the suburbs heavily associating himself with a neighborhood in the inner city is if there was some type of family ties. For instance, there are usually different branches in a family, and a lot of people that grew up in the hood have cousins that grew up middle class in the suburbs. I have family all over the country, from the hood in Memphis to the suburbs in the valley on the west coast. Now, I don't believe that Bibby is as affiliated with No Limit as he once was, since he really has been playing the executive role for a while, far removed from Chicago. But the guys introduced to Juice WRLD due to his affiliation with Bibby are not executives living in mansions. They are very much guys that were still in the streets. So what use would a millionaire raised in the suburbs be to a street gang? Well, in 2022, 3 Army soldiers along with several other people were accused of trafficking weapons to fuel a gang war, which also...
Hold up, we got some some documentation.
Well, in 2022, 3 Army soldiers, along with several other people, were accused of trafficking weapons to fuel a gang war, which also took the life of a No Limit associate, proving that even with how disorganized gangs are in Chicago, at least some blocks have enough money flowing through them to get certain people in certain positions to acquire things for them. And if what I speculate is true, it's not hard to believe that Juice WRLD was just being used by somebody for his money and access to private flights. The streets are a cold place, and when you're dealing with people at that level, they'll happily take advantage of you and find the right guy to send you the proposition you can't refuse. When I saw a video of Juice WRLD freestyling and he was actually disrespecting dead people, including some of No Limit ops, I knew there was some type of follower activity going on. Again, he's from the suburbs, and although some suburbs of Chicago are dangerous, some are very much not. And he grew
I don't know, just something in me I hate to see somebody who folks made it out the hood, moved you to the suburbs, and now all your little dust ass want to do is go back to the hood and get the respect of the hood. And when you already got a leg up to be whatever you want to be in life, go out and make some money without having to watch your back, having the ops after you, without having the feds on your ass. I just don't understand it.
Grew up in Homewood, which I would definitely not describe as dangerous or gang infested. So would it be far-fetched to say that some guys from 79th convinced him to bring some weight in for them? I don't believe so. In fact, No Limit Cairo, a character from No Limit, even admitted on No Jumper of all places that he was on the plane with him the day Juice WRLD died. Now, it's important to remember that Cairo is not a rapper. He tried his hand in vlogging on YouTube before he ended up in the feds, but he was strictly known for being a guy in the streets for No Limit. Not a rapper, producer, or anything that has to do with music. And listen, a lot of these guys could have genuinely liked Juice WRLD and become his friends, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't ask him to do something risky. He was 20 and so were a lot of guys around him, and when I was 20, I was in college, so I can't say that I never saw anyone be convinced to do something that would ruin their life if they got caught. And this is the streets, so it's even worse. And there is even a rumor that some of the guys around him took Juice WRLD's watch after he died. And it's not the same, but it just reminds me of Chief Keef having things stolen out of his house because he let people in that he thought were his friends. In reality, most people are just opportunists, especially when you're the one that achieves something that most people only dream about.
That happens to anybody that lives in if you live in the hood, in the bricks, and if you got something that other niggas ain't got, or you be having your shit together, yeah, that's what that always happen here. I seen niggas steal your pants, your Nintendo tapes, dumb shit, just all type of dumb shit, bro.
From 79th, so I can just imagine what these guys felt like flying on private jets with Juice WRLD and riding around LA in foreign cars. This is a guy that was more successful than any rapper and arguably any entertainer from Chicago ever since Kanye West. During his life, he was top 10 in all of music as far as popularity. Just standing next to him would have got you 50,000 followers. And Cairo, now I'm not saying that if what I speculate is true that he was involved, as Cairo is the only guy from that area that was smart enough to capitalize off his own name and affiliation with people more famous than him, and it led to him gaining hundreds of thousands of views on his own YouTube channel, earning his own money. And it's also important to remember that there is no current investigation into all of the things found on his plane. Some of the people that were on board with him were only charged with weapons, but whatever trafficking investigation the feds had open on Juice WRLD, they clearly thought he was the ringleader because the case is closed. And several No Limit members have been arrested since his death, including Cairo, but none charged with drug trafficking. The affiliation between Juice and No Limit just shows how naive he really was. Since he was discovered by a No Limit associate, and he's the one that put him in the room with the other label executives, he might feel like he owes some type of loyalty to him, and that's fine. And if the guys around Lil Bibby showed Juice WRLD support, and he felt loyalty to them as well, that's fine too. But being from Chicago, you would know that just being seen with some of these guys can make you a target, which is unnecessary, especially if you're not actually involved in what they have going on. No Limit is a very infamous hood, and they've been getting busy for over 30 years. Multiple generations, from back in the day when it was just called Terror Town to today with Drench Gang. These are some guys that you're only seen with if you're prepared to take on everything that they're into. And it's no secret, this has been one of the more intimidating cliques, like I said, for over 30 years. It's not.
He just said a mouthful though. When you allow yourself to benefit from a certain hood, say you from that hood, you also take on the ops. And you don't even know all these ops. You don't know. You be here, be there. Nigga walk in the spot, you don't even know. And they got your ass like a sitting duck. It's a lot of lessons to be learned here.
Not just some group of young guys that jumped in the streets and started gangbanging. But maybe Juice was just so under the influence most of the time that he didn't even realize what kind of danger he was putting himself in just by being around them. And with the back door always open in Chicago, it's hard for me to believe that Juice WRLD wasn't somewhat intimidated by these guys, as in his freestyle where he was dissing their ops, he even hesitated for a second as if almost rethinking his actions. But the person behind the camera dropping the rakes was most likely No Limit. Either way, if you want to believe that the police being tipped off is the reason Juice WRLD is no longer here, that's fine. But whatever was going on, it just doesn't look like something that he should have ever been involved with in the first place. Thanks for watching, and rest in peace to Gerard Higgins.
Yo, this is wild. Something to think about, man. Just something to think about is lessons to be learned here. A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So hopefully we can be much wiser and learn something from this. 70 pounds, that's just outrageous. And whatever it was that he swallowed trying to hide, I don't see. You can't swallow 70 pounds. So that kind of was in vain. You might well took the slap on the wrist, did your time, one of the associates to take the charge. What these guys doing around if they not there to take the charge? What are y'all doing around? I don't understand. Let me get RIP Juice down in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you made it this far, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.